The peace and joy and mercy of Christ be with you all. On this second Sunday of Easter, the Church celebrates Divine Mercy Sunday. And therefore, I've entitled our reflection with this title, The Heart of God is Mercy. So we will reflect on mercy in the life of a Christian. To begin with, on this second Sunday of Easter, the Church dedicates this beautiful Sunday immediately following Easter to divine mercy, to celebrate, to share, to experience the mercy of God. Only last week, Holy Week, we saw, we heard, we participated and experienced the mercy of God in Jesus Christ, His Son. Jesus, who loved us very personally, Jesus, who loved us so intensely, Jesus, who loved us to the very end, that He laid down His life for you and for me. You see the beautiful power of love. Love lays down itself for others. And as we were journeying with Jesus during this Holy Week, we saw and experienced the brutality and the inhuman way that Jesus was treated, first by the soldiers, secondly by Pilate himself, how he washed his hands off Jesus. We also experienced the brutality of the crowd that was worked up against Jesus. We also saw the brutality of Judas, who sold Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. This was our brutality and reaction to God, who became one with us in Jesus. On the flip side of this question, what was Jesus' reaction to our brutality, to our rudeness, to our disrespect of Him? First and foremost, on the cross, where He was suffering and dying, what did Jesus do? Jesus prayed and said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do." Here is the heart of God, the heart of mercy. Again on the cross, the thief who repented and said, "Jesus, remember me when you get into your kingdom." What was Jesus' reaction? "Today you will be with me in paradise." Here is the heart of God, the heart of mercy, not only welcoming, but it's a heart that forgives. Here then we are touching the heart of God, the heart of mercy. If the heart of God is mercy, and I believe and surrender to God in Jesus Christ, who is the outpouring of His unconditional mercy to all of us, then how merciful must I be in return? If I believe, if I live and surrender myself to a God whose heart is mercy, then how does this reflect in my own personal life? That's a very good question. First, in order to be a merciful person myself, to be like Christ, the merciful Lord, the merciful Savior, then I must experience personally, very personally, the mercy of God in Jesus Christ. I must be drenched in His mercy. I must live in His mercy. I must see and touch mercy in me, in my heart, in all the movements of my heart. I must see, touch, and experience His mercy. My heart should be a place where mercy is at work in all my actions and reactions. My heart must be tempered and burning with the mercy of Christ, who loved me, who has forgiven me, and who has welcomed me as his very own. In fact, much more, he died for me. The question now is, how can I experience the mercy of Christ? This is not only $1 million question, it's a $1 billion question. How can I experience the mercy of Christ in my own personal life? Firstly, to begin with, I need to realize and acknowledge that I am a sinner. This is the doorway to mercy, because my sin hurts me, hurts others, and above all, hurts Christ. And my sin has really put Christ onto the cross. The moment I accept that I am a sinner, I can't do this alone, I can't survive on my own and alone, that I recognize the gravity and the seriousness of my sin, then that I reject my sin, that I confess my sin, then the door to mercy is opened wide for me. I'd like to read a part of Pope Francis's homily on mercy. This is what he says. It is not easy to entrust oneself to God, to God's mercy, because it is an abyss beyond our comprehension. But we must say that I am a great sinner. When I say that I am a great sinner, all the better. Go to Jesus. He likes you to tell him these things because he forgets. He has a very special capacity for forgetting. He forgets. He kisses you. He embraces you. And he simply says to you, neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more. You see what a fantastic God we have in Jesus Christ. Again, remember when the thief repented on the cross, what was Jesus' first reaction? He said, "Today you will be with me in paradise." What a merciful God. How I would love to be that sinner there who repents. And yes, yet I can. Yet you can, when all of us can acknowledge that we are sinners. The moment you reject and confess your sin, the floodgates of mercy are open to you. The heart of God is the face of mercy. The heart of God is an ocean of mercy opened up to each one of us. The heart of God is Jesus Christ, who says, "Come to me, all of you, heavy laden, overburdened, and I will give you rest. Learn from me, for I am meek and gentle of heart." To experience the mercy of Christ is to experience the welcoming embrace that cleanses us, raises us up, and gives us courage and hope. Now, wouldn't you and I like to throw open our hearts to this ocean of mercy, this ocean of welcoming in Jesus Christ, who is the heart of God's mercy? When I experience His loving, cleansing, and healing mercy, then I can now not only love those who are around me, but His mercy calls me to be an evangelist of mercy. What a great invitation. When I experience His mercy, then He makes me an evangelist of mercy. An evangelist of mercy to all those around me. Are we living in a perfect world? No, we are not living in a perfect world. There are so many around me who need mercy, who are crying out for mercy. They have no one to show them mercy. They have no place to go for mercy and to find mercy. There is where I become the evangelist to lead them to the heart of God's mercy. To become like Jesus. That is my calling, that is my invitation, that is my vocation when I experience God's personal mercy for me. Now, another question is, what are the qualities of an evangelist of mercy? So let's outline 3 qualities. Number 1, the first quality of an evangelist of mercy is one who has experienced mercy and the forgiveness of Christ. I'd like to read again from Pope Francis's homily on mercy. He says, God's face is the face of a merciful Father who's always patient. Have you thought about God's patience? The patience He has with each one of us. That is His mercy. He always has patience with us. He understands us. He waits for us. He does not tire of forgiving us if we are able to return to Him with a contrite heart. That's why one of the Psalms says, the Pope, great is God's mercy. The second quality of an evangelist of mercy is one who has patience, as we heard the Pope say. Patience with those who commit the same mistakes over and over and over. Every time we sin and ask the Lord for His forgiveness, He is ever ready to forgive us without any questions. So let's read again from Pope Francis's sermon on mercy. He says this, let us remember Peter. 3 times he denied Christ precisely when he should have been closest to Jesus. And when he hits rock bottom, he meets the gaze of Jesus, who patiently, wordlessly says to him, Peter, don't be afraid of your weakness. Trust in me. Peter understands. He feels the loving gaze of Jesus and he begins to weep. How beautiful is this gaze of Jesus. How much tenderness is there. Therefore, my friends, says the Pope, let us never lose trust in the patience and mercy of God. You and I will be impatient with one another, but if you and I are evangelists of mercy, then you and I, like Jesus, will be patient with one another. The third quality of an evangelist of mercy, one who is ready to help those struggling to see the love and mercy of Christ in their lives. This is what, again, Pope Francis says. So I'm going to read again. He says, I'm always struck when I reread the parable of the merciful Father. The Father with patience, love, hope, and mercy had never for a second stopped thinking about his wayward son. And as soon as he sees him still far off in the distance, he runs out to him and embraces him with tenderness, the tenderness of God, without a word of reproach. God is always waiting for us. He never grows tired. Jesus shows us this merciful patience of God so that we can regain confidence and hope in Jesus, always. And finally, God's mercy cannot be measured, and it is always there. You cannot quantify God's mercy. It's an ocean of mercy. It is more than we can understand. It is for us to receive and experience. It is for us to share it with others and give it away freely to everyone around us, as much as we have received the mercy of God. If I have received that abundant mercy in my life, then I need to give it away freely, share it with everybody around me abundantly and freely. I'd like to conclude once again with Pope Francis's homily. He says this: God's patience has to call forth in us the courage to return to Him. However, we may make many mistakes and sins. There may be plenty of faults and failures in our lives. It is there in the wounds of Jesus that we are truly secure. There we encounter the boundless love of His heart. Thomas the Apostle understood this. St. Bernard goes on to ask, but what can I count on? My own merits? No. My merit is God's mercy. I am by no means lacking merit as long as He is rich in mercy. If the mercies of God are manifold, I too will abound in merits. This is important. The courage to trust in Jesus' mercy, to trust in His patience, to seek refuge in the wounds of His love. The heart of God is mercy. Let's go and be evangelists of mercy everywhere.